Hello, guys. Welcome to this week's Cashflow Digital, where it is sponsored by odys.global. If you're interested in Age Domains, make sure you check the link below where you can get £100 sign up. But more importantly, we have Bad Brad, Mike Pierce, and Corey Rose is back again.
He's a naughty little bee.
Yeah, I'm not getting any presents this year.
Yeah, nothing but black chunks of coal.
Dude, I watched this is a little off topic, slightly from SEO, but I watched a show called a movie called Fat Man. It's got Mel Gibson as Santa, and he's like shooting. You'd like it because he's like shooting targets and shit out on the range. So he gives this rich kid coal, right? And he opens the present, and then the rich kid immediately hires a hitman to come after Santa and kill him because he's cold. So they have a big shoot, like Santa's having a shootout. It's like a gruffy Mel Gibson and crap. But anyway, what were we talking about? Oh,
dude,
Cole.
I've never heard of the movie, dude.
Yeah, I think it's new. You know, I watched.
Sounds very American, right, Craig?
Oh, it's very, yeah. He was in like Idaho somewhere.
Santa!
Yeah,
coming after him because he gave you coal.
Yeah.
No,
it's
entitlement.
ODYS reminds me of Odie from freaking Garfield, dude.
Reminds me of Odyss.
Hey,
Odyss,
Craig, I got a question about ODYS. And maybe this is the same for some of your listeners, but if you request access and you try to get in there and you don't hear anything back from anybody, how many times should you do that before start blowing you up?
I think they have that process there where they will try and weed out the shitbags, basically. So if you have some shady name or some crappy email that makes you look like a fucking spammer, they don't want you there. So do consider that. It's kind of supposed to be an exclusive marketplace, and they're trying to deter, the tire kickers and the horrible bastards that you get out there who maybe go in there and just check out the domains. And
that explains why.
What's interesting is the service. A service like that. I was talking to Blackjack, who has a really solid ass cloaker. It's private, semi-private, and I was talking to him. He's like, most of those guys, they just don't want the majority of people out there because the service just freaking kicks ass. It's super solid, and it's a waste of everyone else's time, not only theirs, when someone comes in and they're not honestly worth talking to. So
obviously, Corey, they don't think you're worth
shitty, Corey.
That's what I gathered.
I know why.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah, they never replied to me either. Then I tried to log back in, and my username was gone. So get him the fuck out of here.
You have that shady name and shady ass email, bro.
Yeah.
Corey Rose.
Well, Mr. Still Your Girl at gmail.com. I thought it was pretty good, but apparently
get in where you fit in. You obviously don't fit in there, bro.
I don't. Yeah.
Not there.
No, I'll talk to Alex if you want to grab an account, bro, and send me your email, dude. I'll examine it for shittiness and shadiness, bro.
Curiosity.
What's that?
What was your email? Out of curiosity, was it something fucking bizarre? Like
it was. I got a couple in my head. I don't know if I'm gonna say them. I'm already turning red, dude.
I know. Well, I used my own name. So
That's really
I don't know
bad,
if that's
dude.
even worse. That might be even worse.
Yeah,
that's not a real name. Everyone looks at it. That's not a real name.
Mike can't get a Google account using his real name. So.
All right. So today we want to talk about some PPC. I want to focus on maybe a couple things with landers. But my first question is, what are AdWords?
What are AdWords?
AdWords. Well, AdWords is now Google Ads.
No, bro. I swear to God, I looked up top interview questions for PPC, and the first one said, "What are AdWords?"
No way.
Yeah, dude.
This is how Mike plans for these shows.
What are AdWords? I've been thinking about this for a couple days, dude, and that question just really made that. I like that name, dude. We're gonna have a revolution.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Bring it to America first.
But yeah, what are AdWords? Is the fucking
No,
That's funny. That's funny, dude.
What are AdWords? No. Okay, so PPC, we say PPC. Right now, I know you're making some shifts, and I know, like, when we've run agency shit with you, you've always dominated our lead process with pay-per-click, right? You've always kicked ass with it. So, would you recommend for what that was? That was my AdWords, bro.
Somebody was landscaping.
Sorry, I've got a shaver here that isn't actually.
What else is down there, dude?
You got that Balthuzi coming.
You don't want to know, man. Oh man,
pulls up a lawn gnome.
Lead process, PPC. Do you focus mainly on AdWords?
Google Ads is so it used to be called AdWords, and then I think when they shifted to Alphabet and everything, they changed it to Google Ads.
Right.
So, but the AdWords, like it all redirects over there. So, for generating leads for certain niches, you have to consider an ads campaign. Like the way that most SEOs talk about ads campaign is like, especially when they're pitching a client on SEO who might be running ads. Hey, you're just wasting money on traffic. You buy the traffic one time, you pay $10. The visitor goes to your website, you have the opportunity to convert them into a lead, and then they either do or they don't. They bounce. So you're wasting money on traffic is kind of the vernacular that
the typical SEO sales tool.
That if you focus on a campaign like that those campaigns like fail 98.7% of the time. Because I think the last statistics I looked at is that the CPA on AdWords was something like 1.7%, which actually means it fails like 97.3, 98.2% of the time. Like if you're just focusing on a traffic push like that to a conversion.
Well, I mean, that's a great question. Like if you have somebody in the office who doesn't know what they're doing, set up a campaign and they just start throwing traffic at the website, then yeah, you're 100%, which is what a lot of people do. Is you're just like, we had Brad over here in the office and he set up the ads campaign and it's sending traffic.
That's why the conversion dropped.
You've got his picture on the lander. I don't know why.
That was it. Like he had his abs showing there, and
the gun show.
So that's what happens. So they're just like, I sent all this traffic to my website. It was my keyword, my main keyword, and I didn't really get any conversions. I paid like $500 and I got a conversion. I got like 5 conversions with $3,000. I didn't close any of those deals. And they come to the conclusion, well, that's because it doesn't work. It just doesn't freaking work. The truth of the matter is, and I know that I know this is probably different than the way that most SEOs consider ads and a Google Ads campaign, is that it actually can become an asset because it requires optimization. There's data that you get from Google that you only get from Google when you pay for it through Google Ads, right, Mike? I mean, we've been over. So, for example, you have an idea of how many, people in your, let's say you're local, how many people in your region are searching for your main keyword, but you only get that actual information. When you pay Google, you get to see the exact query that they typed into Google before they clicked on your ad, and then you get to follow that query through to see if they became a lead and then ultimately into a sale. So that's the kind of data that you only get. And then that actually informs the future of your SEO campaign. A lot of clients that come to us, so a lot of clients that come to us that have no idea what their actual keyword is. They've got an idea, brand new website, they want to do SEO, and I'm like, stop for a minute. We need to send some traffic to the website and let the voters decide how it matches up with your messaging and your branding, and then we'll use that to inform the build.
I love how you said voters, bro, because I want people in the audience to think about where SEO is at this point. We talk about trust. We talk about all of these metrics, these important metrics that are not like the traditional SEO metrics that help rank a campaign. Craig talks a lot about CTR, and CTR, of course, is a bucket for a whole bunch of metrics, right? Yeah. Now, My question to all of you here is, would you rather have a backlink from a page that is running AdWords or one that is not running AdWords?
One that is running AdWords.
It is. Traffic's important. You know, if I'm getting a backlink from anywhere, I think traffic's an important thing to have. That's one of the things.
What else do you have? I mean, traffic. You got traffic from the website that Google trusts the most.
Yeah.
One. But then for two, that domain itself now has a credit card attached to it. It's got a persona. It's got money coming into it. So that builds the trust of any website that's starting off that's a brand new website.
And also the link valuation, because a backlink really is just an estimation of the click-through rate from one page to another. So when they're driving data through their system to a page, this is important to understand for everybody in the audience about trust and how things work, is if Google can see this, if they have the transparency and they can see what really is going on outside of browsers, outside of safe search, outside of APIs like font APIs, and they actually are running it through a system where they're making money off of it, do you think it might be a little bit more beneficial for you to get a link from that page rather than a page that doesn't have all of that going for it? Or on another note, a page that is in GMB. So you can look at GMB based link, like an entity that's established in Google My Business, pointing a link to you, is way more beneficial than one that's just sitting out there as someone's affiliate website. Whether you believe that or not, I don't give a shit, because it's true. I've seen it in the data. And so when we start to think about PPC, it's important to realize that Corey's running PPC, but I have a feeling he's also thinking about his SEO at the same time. Is that true?
100%. Yeah, that absolutely, that is true. So, I mean, you can, and that's a question that I get a lot from clients that I pitch PPC to. Is that going to help my SEO? And the answer to that is yes and no. Not directly, but indirectly. You are, again, getting all those signals that you mentioned, Mike. You're getting the traffic from a trusted website. And then if you have your tag manager set up, you have that traffic that comes in, and let's say you have a tag manager that says on scroll, count that as a conversion, or on click, count that as a conversion, on image load, count that as a conversion. So you've got all these conversion actions that are happening from traffic that's coming in, and that by itself, it gives the same user signals as though it was coming from SEO.
Yep.
So
they're no different.
Yeah.
It's truly about the page, and Google's always been writing patents around estimating user experience. Like, we know SEO is about an estimation of the user experience. They don't want to rank a site that is a bad user experience. And that's why when you talk about, we've talked about it in light manners, Brad and I don't go into full detail, but we talk about, you know, my site that looks like that third grader's art collage, and they click and they fill out and they do an action right away, versus this beautiful site that people like jump on and they don't have anything. They don't know what the hell they're supposed to do because of the beautiful mystery meat on the navigation, and they just freaking take off and find my site.
Mystery what?
Mystery meat.
Okay.
Navigation. You love the mystery meat, baby.
Favorite kind of meat.
So, like, what you have is a situation where quality is only relevant to the user experience, right? So this really ties into like email, it ties into PPC, it ties into SEO. So I think segmenting it, and I think the way you've kind of moved everything into one bucket for yourself. Like, I watched you do SEO for years, and I know you kick ass at SEO. So you see it this way, but I think a lot of people in the audience don't really realize how integrated absolutely everything you do on a page is. And you said that directly, is that those micro engagement, those micro conversions that are on that page, literally, unless you tag it differently, right, are not differentiated from another user, other than the metrics coming in and the referrer coming in, which you can modify anyways, right? Mm-hmm. So are you actively running campaigns that are pushing, I'm going to ask this in a way that throws you under the bridge a little bit, I think, but are you manipulating your SEO through your PPC on purpose and directly, or no?
I every time I run a PPC campaign for any of my stuff or for any of my clients, there's always SEO is always in mind with that. So it's you can throw a URL parameter up there. You can I mean, there's certain pages, so you can go to for Shopify site, for example. You just grab like a parameter from the search bar, and you can throw that in there. The problem with some of that stuff is, though, it does bring them to a good page. You're not necessarily converting, because that just takes people to either articles or other things, which is good for engagement, but not necessarily for conversions all the time. So I'll mix in some of those campaigns, but yeah, 100%. But then again, I'm looking at the data to tell me what do I need to be SEOing the site for, and then maybe it's not the main keyword, but let's say I've got this long tail thing that I never even considered before, and I see that it's getting clicks and it's making sales. I'm going to have my content writer write a piece of content around that, and I'm going to rank a page for that long tail keyword.
And that leads to the next point that people really need to take to heart, is that before you can actually, unless you're doing information-based content, until you actually test conversion and run this and know how users are interacting with terms, you really shouldn't be spending long-term SEO budget building huge campaigns around keywords that are a mystery to you. And I would recommend that everyone who can really run the budget in pay before they start to throw it into long-term investment like SEO. Now, that doesn't mean don't do content, because there is you can always suck down traffic and then fuck with it, right, and convert it. But to invest, like I had a situation where I had to rank for the term luxury, like literally knowing that I would never convert anything off of it, but it needed to be there for our sales staff, right? So I had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars ranking for this term. And it, in a way, kind of converted because it helped our salespeople convert. But I didn't have data to back up. Look, this isn't going to convert. The email list is not going to convert any of this. It's not going to do this. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, the business decision was, I want to rank for the vanity term luxury, so go do it. Shut up.
It's like all those people a few years ago going after the My City SEOs. They didn't have that many conversions, but then you could take it into a client and say, look what I can do.
Exactly. It's like ranking your SEO firm for SEO in that city. It gives the it makes you look like an expert, even though you're Brad or me or Corey or Greg.
I always do better in non-in-person calls with clients. So
yeah, the conversion rate goes up when you're not
way up when they can't see you. Unless like the more interaction they have with me, the more it goes down. If it's just text, I can kill it. If they hear me, I can get by. If it's like a Zoom call where they can see me like this, like the whole time, like it's bad.
Back up away from the camera. It's dark enough. Back up.
Yeah, just turn around.
Yeah, turn around and shake it. I didn't know you could send tips through Zoom. But then, in person, it's typically pretty horrible. So, aside from CIC, for some reason they like this. So, but that dude was about as crazy as me.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. When there's a good, like a talking point in the room, like a golden shovel, dude, you smash it and sell it, dude. Yeah. What's up, Smush? 0.0.
0.0 Smush.
I always, do you know what? Every time I see Victor on Facebook, I don't know why, but I automatically just think of SEMrush when I see his name. I know it's this
Smush, SEMrush. Yeah.
I'm just like, fucking SEMrush. I don't know. It just always sends off SEMrush. I know that means absolutely nothing, and I've just spoke out a term.
No, it means a lot.
Especially to Vic. Yeah. Is he back in the States, or is he still south of the border?
Vic, he's all jet setting, man. I always lose track of where the fuck this guy lives, dude.
Right. Yeah. I think it's Costa Rica right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm
thinking. Really? I hadn't even heard
Costa Rica now. Some shit.
Yeah, Costa Rica. He stays ahead of the law that way.
He has a hell of a tax bill, but
Right. So let's say you have this campaign that you've started off with a client. There are certain things that I'm always looking for. I mean, number one, you absolutely have to have your conversion set up, right? Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I tried to talk Kelsey into Puerto Rico because of the where are you paying 4% at most, Vic, and then 0 capital gains tax, right? I believe.
She prefers Germans, bro.
Who does? Vic.
Kelsey.
Oh yeah, that too.
Dude, I didn't say that, Corey.
Yes.
Right.
So in your campaigns, man, let's talk about landing pages, because I do want to talk about content, okay? Because content has a huge impact on everything we do, okay? Let's talk about quality score, dude. Quality score and paid versus Panda, Penguin and shit in SEO. Like there's big brothers and little sisters in there and shit. So are you using any software for your pages? Are you using any optimization software in your campaigns or
for ads?
Yeah, for your landers, bro.
No.
Okay.
Just this right here. And
no.
and the reason for that is because it doesn't have to be, you don't have to think too deep about what you're actually doing, right? So you want your CTR on your ads to be high. And the best CTR that I've come across, I mean, you get like people tell you put a number, you know, like hashtag number 1 or top or anything like that. Those things don't necessarily convert to the highest CTR. The best CTR is going to be like the keyword top left, just like in SEO stuff, and then you put $1. You can put $sign if you're selling something, but you want that CTR to get as high as you can, just the click through on the ad itself. So most of the campaigns that I've got are between 5 and 18% for CTR. One of them that I have that I'm doing for a client is 18%, and they don't even have conversion tracking because they take it to a software and it comes back. And I've been working on that, trying to get that for a while. But your CTR is going to be one thing, and then that will obviously contribute to your ad rank and your ad score. But then the page that people land on should match up exactly with what you promised in the ad, and it should match up with what the keyword is, which then you've got, let's say you've got 10 different things out of 1,000 keywords that are actually converting for you. That's when you pull in a software, just Google, the Google Ads editor, and you start creating SKAGs or single keyword ad groups. And that way you have one keyword with 2 ads that you're A/B testing that are all going either to, they could all go to the same page, or you could just modify the page a little bit to make sure that it's an exact match for what that keyword actually is. So, and then for the content on a landing page, I keep it at, kind of to a minimum. I'll get the keyword in a couple of headers, but you want to break that content up so when somebody is scrolling, there's not just this huge body of text. So you've got your, obviously call to action up on the very top. It could be a phone number and or a, just like a form. And then as they scroll down, you want your social proofing on there. You want some examples of your work on there. You want some other people's faces on there talking about how good and cool you are. And then at the bottom, another call to action. And if you have to make it up, then make it up.
Do you fuck around with your quality score for optimization of CPC at all?
No, I'm not typically running CPC.
You're running context?
I'm not running them to the same pages that I'm, if you're talking about like SEO.
No, I'm actually talking about the quality score of the ad. So I wasn't sure if you're actually finding the need to optimize your ad quality score for your CPCs, or you're finding that you're hitting solid CPCs with your process that you have right now.
Yeah, 100%. And there's things that are within, now Google has gotten smarter about just dumbing it down for people. They have recommendations, and you click it and it'll create these these site links. So you see the ad, and then you've got all these site links underneath it that say like call now, buy now, and you've got these site links that makes the ad larger, but people are actually clicking on those as well, and that contributes to your quality score.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it all does. And I think that's why you're finding the CPC falling down for your campaigns, is because of it. Now, are you collecting data on the site links? Are you noticing any patterns there at all, dude, or just?
It's a little more difficult to pull from Google Ads, like from their database. Like they'll give you kind of some general stuff about what people are clicking. All I can tell from there is just that the ad score goes up and you get a higher click-through rate. So, but you definitely, I mean, if it's there, you can use it and it improves things, and why not just go to the extra effort and do it like you can build out a bunch of them really easily and just put you can just change a URL a little bit.
With that kind of thing, you have more opportunity to be within context for the searcher anyway, so it makes sense that it would always increase it, because the more option, like we're talking about personalization and shit over at FGP and all that, and the more opportunity people have to select something that fits in their frame of mind at that moment, like, because we're not we're the golden age of advertising where the advertiser and the brand is always right is completely gone. It's been gone for over a decade, and it's now the users that are in charge of everything. So it's our job to actually jump in front of them in their context. You know, are they at work? Are they on social media? Are they buying? Are they doing research? So the more site link you have, like, the more opportunity you have to hit that like golden spot for them. So that makes a lot of sense that you're seeing the ads.
Yeah. And then on the other side of that, though, Mike, to your point, man, like, people are all over the place, and the traffic that you don't really want to pay for is top of the funnel. You want bottom of the funnel kind of traffic that you're paying for.
Laser targeted, yeah.
Yeah, and the only way to get that is to invest a lot of money and time into your campaign, and now you're able to start seeing where the bottom of the funnel is, what keywords are associated with that. And then you drill down, and here's where the magic happens with an ads campaign, where it turns into this asset that turns into ROI on demand. So you're looking at several factors. What time of the day are people more likely to convert? Obviously, you've done the keywords, like, you know what keywords are converting. What time of day are they converting the most? What states, you know, if you're running a national campaign, what states are more likely to convert than others?
That's been really important in some of our campaigns. Yeah.
What's that?
Go ahead, Brad.
I was just saying that at a state level, that's been crucial in some of our Mike's campaigns.
What I've seen too is that dayparting can be extremely important too. Like, I have many campaigns I've run that shut off at freaking 9 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night and part the day like crazy. And on the other side, as a publisher, there's always been a ton of requests for dayparting and ad campaigns that we get in. So on that note, when it comes to dayparting and geographic targeting, like, do you have like a quick process that you use in your head to like break that down, look at the data for people in the audience that might not be doing that yet, and they're just running stuff all day long for everybody and their mother?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so you start the campaign off, and you want to shoot it kind of broad with your keywords, the time of day. So maybe you run it 24 hours a day. You run it all across the United States. I'm talking about for like a national campaign. Mm-hmm. And then, so you're gonna spend quite a bit of money, but you're collecting this data, and then you can pull that geographic data down and actually see where those, if it's a service base, there's going to be a manual process for, you've got X amount of conversions from the state of Texas and X amount of clients from the state of Texas, and then you're able to start seeing, putting that data together. But that is, that once it leaves Google's, the ads, then it's on you to kind of use what you have and what you know about the traffic that's come in and how much is converted and where they've come from. So if you have clients, you're going to ask them those questions. I need a list of where your clients that you've brought in from the campaign, what states they're in, where do they live, or if you're selling things, where are you selling them? Like, what states are more? So you can pull all that data out of Google, out of the ads, your ads campaign, right there on the dashboard. You've got your location targeting, and then you can just pull a report from that. And then from there, it starts to tell you the story, and you start reading that, and you're like, okay, I've spent $10,000 in ads. $1,500 went to New York. $1,000 went to Florida, and then the rest was all over like California or wherever else. And I closed nothing in New York. I haven't sold a thing. I sold 8 in Texas. I sold 20 in Florida. So now you can be like, okay, I'm not running ads in New York. I'm going to run some ads. I'm going to keep them going in Florida. I'm going to optimize them in Texas and a couple of the other states where I've sold some stuff. So, and you can set all of that stuff up to get right in front of the right audience, the right kind of people. And then obviously time of day is going to tell you that same kind of story. And day of the week is also huge in a lot of industries. So, for e-commerce, maybe Friday is a really good day, Friday and Saturday versus Monday and Tuesday, where people are just like,
I know for PPL, our weekends always comparatively.
Yeah, any of them. Yeah, your PPL stuff. Like, if you have emergency stuff, like probably some of the stuff you guys are in, people are they're clicking on it. They're going to call right away.
Yeah.
Even in like semi-emergency type markets, like, it still drops on the weekends, man. At least it seems that way in the markets we're in. Wouldn't you think, Brad?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Just looking at the dollar value from Saturday, Sunday compared to any other day is way lower. Monday, it always peaks on Monday, typically, maybe Tuesday, and then throughout the week, it'll
Because
kind of
people
trail
got
off.
a good weekend, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just flooded their whole house or something. And Monday morning,
they're calling for an emergency plumber. They need a rehab.
Yeah.
It's been a good weekend, dude.
That's a good weekend.
You've got to remember that you've got to sometimes get data from the customer as well, though. Because, for example, I used to work with a pest control company, and they used to do paid ads like Monday to Friday. That was it. But the guy basically said one day, I want to run a test because we always get calls between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. That's when most of the calls come in. He says anyone that calls after that is just like little Miss Smith who's got a little mouse in her fucking garden, which they ain't interested in. They're wanting to get the good stuff. You know, someone's office is riddled, and you know those calls are coming first thing in the morning. You know, that's 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. So it made total sense to then just say, squeeze down those ads between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., switch them off for the rest of the day, and let all those other motherfuckers do that. You wouldn't know that unless the business owner said to you, this is what happens when those calls are ringing. So it's also, you know, down to the business owner. You can look at your conversions and shit like that, but small little things like that, which are just common sense, also are good to consider.
So, and that was a good point, Craig, is like letting other advertisers just run out for the rest of the day. And one of the things that you do have to watch out for is regarding other advertisers is when people are clicking your ad multiple times to try to, get you to hit your budget for the day, and then you bounce, and that's called click fraud. So there's a couple tools that are out there for click fraud prevention. I use Clickstell, and what it does is you can set up rules like somebody clicks on something, this IP address is blocked for an hour. If they click on it again in the same day, the IP address is blocked for a week. If they click on it again after that week, they're blocked for a month. So you can establish those rules, and there's a ton of bots out there that are just like running. Who knows? Oh,
dude, I'll tell you right now, I know some people that run click farms in different countries, dude, and it's freaking rampant, dude. Especially when you get into some of these larger markets, man, it's all over the freaking place.
Yeah.
What Craig brought up is extremely important for people to like really kind of contemplate and think about, because if you're working as an agency, if you're doing work with other small businesses or large businesses, you are the one with the knowledge. They don't know the data that they have. You are like the freaking prospector at that point. Like, you need to mine that data, and you need to find the gold that they've been sitting on for years. And if you do that, you can, like, instead of, because for me, PPC, like paid advertising, there's a period where I'm going to lose money while I'm gathering data.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you're Corey or Craig walking into 3 years worth of data that they don't know how to analyze, you have an opportunity to look like a freaking superstar to these people, because bang, you have the conversion data already. So if you aren't taking advantage of that data and you are doing client work, start doing it, because you will have easy wins that way.
That's the first thing we did with the payday loan client was we looked at their CPC data, which they were up to at their peak 4 mil a month and running ads. Yeah, Jason, you met Jason, I think. Yeah. He was running 4 mil a month for that. So we had all this data, all this conversion data. So we looked at it, looked at the states, looked at everything, and then we built a whole mass site campaign around that, which then eventually led into a traditional SEO.
I just pushed the link at the pages you told me to push them to. Dude.
Yeah, that's when it was the easiest, you know.
Brad just said, point them here, point them here.
We had spreadsheet, we had a Google Drive, and then it would, you know.
And one other important aspect, especially if you're like running an agency or even if you're doing affiliate stuff, to consider when it comes to paid is that really, I mean, we had this broad core update the last few days. The sky is falling. SEOs are pulling their hair out.
We know some people that lost half the daily.
Yeah, and I was looking at one site in a major market today that lost 60%, dude.
Yeah.
And it'll be recoverable. Like, I'm already seeing the path to recovery really quickly. And one thing I will say is if you do, that's a good point. We're not even talking about a core update, but that's fine. Just really quick, a quick tip. Don't stop building your links. Like, make sure that you're paying attention to spam filters right now, and that you are not dropping your link campaigns. Okay.
Yeah.
And check your internal navigation is the other thing I will say, and the way that you're coding your internal navigation as well. I would recommend you go completely relative and not go absolute right now. So back to PPC. What were you saying, dude? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
So no.
Running agencies.
So all the stuff that Mike just said is things that you have to hit. You have to be able to move and transition your campaigns and change your websites up for SEO, and you basically you're at the mercy of the Google, and it means dollars and cents to you. So the thing about paid ads is that it's the North Star. Like it's always there. The algorithms don't change that much, but they're always right there. Like you get good at that, you're not going to have to stay ahead of the algorithms and study patent updates. You have all the data right there because Google wants you in there spending money. They want
you're making the money, dude. They call it a partnership, but really they're just an ad agency. So whatever. But this is hilarious because I remember like Brad and I and another dude like just chasing freaking accounts that were basically the same as a pharmacy, so we could run multiple pages in addiction, and been there so many freaking times. This is a gold tip. I don't know if it would have come out, but so thank you, Smush. Because what are your thoughts on this, Corey? I know you're probably not doing this for clients, or are you?
I am. So that is again. So a lot of SEOs have niched down, and do really good in certain niches. And so if you take that same mindset and to Smush's point right there, you can pull clients in, and you've got this incredible set of data that you can just bring from one campaign, and you can pull it right into another campaign for another client. You can get your CTR can be really high right out the gate. You have landing page. You've probably already A/B tested, so you can duplicate that campaign and make it profitable immediately for clients. So and in that sense, niching down like that and then going after clients in the same niche where you already have this data is going to be super helpful.
If for anyone that already does AdWords in here, a good niche is substance abuse because they will pay out the ass for a good PPC guy. So I don't know if you're in that niche at all, Corey, but that one, I've seen them drop a ton of cash on Facebook.
I just had a flashback.
Yeah.
Fucking Smush and Corey, the first event we ever did, cornered my ass when we were talking about mass sites and started fucking drilling me about large keywords, dude. Large keywords. And I don't know if you fuckers remember this, but
I remember Corey trying to wrestle me.
Boys, I'm like, fuck, dude. Shit. I couldn't get away. No, really though. Thank you for bringing that up, dude, because it actually is a really important point. Because when you start to look at what Vic is talking about, what Corey's talking about, and then what Brad and I have been talking about with mini-nets forever, where every domain you put up, everything you put up has to be building revenue. This is why network technology and like network processes can tie into SEO and PPC very well, because starting to create, Brad and I do this with GMB. We've done it with PPC in the past, very much so. But having multiple sites that are targeting ads in the Google system now become an opportunity for your linking profiles. They become an opportunity for your organic campaigns. So it's a very holistic way to look at SEO and digital marketing. If you have the ability to create secondary accounts, you might as well be looking into how you can use that to benefit you in SEO as well. Right. And then also when it comes to retargeting, so it starts to skyrocket into that put a pixel on it type of conversation, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And that also allows, now this all ties into this, we talked about quality score. There's quality score for your ad accounts, there's quality score for your SEO on the pages. Now, if you start to tie this kind of shit together, there are considerations when it comes to ad accounts and you linking them together. You better be on your freaking game if you're gonna take that risk, because I've seen it smash a lot of people, but it's also been very, very profitable. So I'm not saying go out and do this without the right knowledge, but think about it in that manner where you have any opportunity to tie this shit together and make more money to benefit you on all levels, right?
Yeah, 100%. And then especially for if you're running an agency, this is it's almost a no-brainer to get your chops up on learning how to manage campaigns and set them up, and just get familiar with the dashboard. Because again, like there's certain times when, let's say your SEO is not producing the kind of leads that it should. You spin up a really quick campaign, do a laser targeted, do a few keywords, call only campaign, and then the client starts getting phone calls or they start getting form submits. And you can do that on a pretty low scale campaign, but it's a really good way just to supplement the traffic that they're getting, or they're not getting. But a lot of clients, if they're getting impatient for the work that you're doing in SEO to start paying off, that's a really solid way just to to keep the faith going, to keep them.
Yeah. We've used it to bridge the gap in the past.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's solid, and a campaign like that is easy enough. Like you can do it with like Google Ads Express, and that's it doesn't require much of a brain. I mean, Brad could probably set it up.
Perfect for me. Yeah. Like the scarecrow.
I brought up quality score a couple times, dude, and I don't think I've talked to you about this yet, Corey, but we're consulting on this month in a certain plugin that we use for clustering and SEO that is now expanding into PPC and lowering the cost of clicks, and also managing the phones, the call center as well. So it's expanding into PPC and agency call centers as well. And so far, testing's this is testing I did maybe 5, 6 years ago, but we're doing it again now with them. And it's looking like it's going to be beneficial to not only people doing SEO, but everyone running PPC as well, for streamlining all the processes. So how is your process right now when it comes, because I know you're hiring a freaking ton right now, aren't you?
I mean, I wouldn't say a ton.
Well, more than I am.
Yeah,
it seems like a lot of work to me, dude. It
is like making hires is like the same kind of mindset as closing clients.
I think it might even be freaking more crucial, bro. Don't you?
It is more, definitely. Yeah, it's more crucial
for sure.
Yeah, it's more crucial. So I mean, you definitely you're really there's a lot that goes into it. So
how are you managing the process? Like I know you're hiring sales. Are you hiring implementation right now at all, or no? You're hiring. Okay, so what systems are you using if someone's like looking to structure an SOP? Like, how are you structuring everything right now, dude?
So I mean, one of the hugest like barriers for me had been hiring. Like I was just waiting until I'd meet the right person on the street, a friend of mine or somebody who's looking for work that I think would be good in sales, or that would be good doing tech stuff. And so and that's because the work that we do, we hold everything close to the chest. It's very guarded.
You don't want to train your competition. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't want to train your competition. You also don't like to, work with people that you don't know. And
I don't like working with people I do know.
I really hate it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So getting over that mental hurdle. It's like the same thing. I mean, if you start using your billionaire brain to make money for yourself, one of the biggest things you have one, Brad, and let them out. And I know you already have, but
you got a pick and a shovel. Like try and get it.
So bringing people, like I think, what was it like? Who's the guy from Virgin?
Russell Brunson.
Was it Russell? Yeah, that's what I thought. And
like that. Yeah. Richard Bronson. Not Russell. Yeah, that's like
Branson, right?
Bronson.
Like
Branson, that. Bronson. Yeah, something like that.
So he was like, he said, that he counts all of his success to hiring people that are better than him at doing certain things within the business, and that is something that has always stuck with me. Like, how do I hire people that are better than me that can do this part of the job that I'm doing currently, and that part and that part. So a huge part of that is coming from just getting a campaign built up in Indeed. So you've got you have a job posting on Indeed. You get through everything basically, and there's books on this, that the job or the job description that you find on a job board should basically be the actual job description. The expectation should be in there. So people are vetting themselves before they even apply for the job. And then once they get there, you send them. You don't call them. There, Richard Branson. Okay, there it is. Thank you. Yeah,
Samsonite. I was way off.
Yeah, Samsonite. Yeah, buddy.
Dude, no, I had a train of thought, but then the Samsonite thing happened.
He was talking about Indeed.
Yeah.
Actually, it made me think about the campaigns everyone was running to manipulate CTR and SEO with Indeed, dude. Is what that means.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a high profile backlink.
It's dirty though, dude. Everyone's posting fake jobs, dude.
That can be dirty.
To get the CTR.
Bad economy, people are wanting fucking food, like.
It's messed up, man.
Yeah. Hey, there was a question a few minutes ago about pricing.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, let's go back to that question.
Since you've done a bunch of agency work, probably more than Mike and I, what are your thoughts on that? Like, Brian, I know it's kind of an umbrella question from
SEO and SEM services. They're asking about pricing that, and I'm going to say first off is, do you know what your cost is before you start pricing it? And
it depends on the market. You can charge a lot more in some markets versus others.
It depends on the ad spend, actually. So the more ad spend that somebody has, the higher price they're going to pay. And typically, the way that
he's asking about the reason why I say client. He's asking about SEO and SMM, which is social media management. So neither of those.
It was social media, so not PPC. Even with PPC, no matter what it is, no matter if it's ad management, social media management. You have to know what it's going to cost you so you can figure out how you're going to package it for individual people. It's like Brad and I and Corey, I know at one point was pricing this way as well, pricing links and content as a unit so it can be sold as advertising rather than like this mystical SEO crap. Same thing with like the time, even though we're paying for a flat cost on a link, we might be selling that as an hourly, determining how much we want for the link, looking at what's realistic in the market for outreach, and then selling it as outreach hours, even though we're paying $25 for the link. We might sell it for $250 or something. Like, that's not pricing. I'm just saying this is an example of why you want to know your costs before you start to package your crap.
And then that question that came in, typically, if you're just getting started with client SEO, you like in a small city, if you're doing just like one-offs, like $750 a month, you can do just a keyword campaign, like 5 keywords, and that's what you're ranking them for. And then, just like another $150 per keyword. But what you want to do is when you present it to a client, you want it to be in a really nice package. I mean, I've seen some guys that have a proposal that they send over, and the whole thing is a Word document, no images, it's just text. And there's no packaging, there's no branding.
Can I say that I've seen your package, Corey? It's extremely nice.
All of them.
Yes, Brad.
Yeah, that's why. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the next level.
Anyway, put lipstick on the squirrel. When someone asks me about pricing, I say as much as you can. Within reason. You don't want to price it so high that they're only going to stay on a month or two. But if you think they're only going to stay on a month or two, charge as much as you can.
Yeah. That's the biggest setback, I think, for people is not valuing their services enough, man. I see it all the time, dude. I think that I was guilty of that when I started selling services, man. It's like not charging enough, like, because I knew what I was getting this stuff for, and I felt like it was too big of a markup. But dude, there's a reason there's a big markup on certain things,
Plus, you're going to have time and dealing with the client and all of that stuff, so you got to take that.
I never thought of that. Yeah. That was one thing I missed as a new SEO, was that I'm going to spend time dealing with them all month long, and that took time for me to figure out I was wasting time doing it. Not
that one client, the nutraceutical client we had to resell them every month, basically.
Dude, that was so
yeah. So what are you doing again?
Every Friday.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. What did you guys do this month? How many hours?
I mean, we could show them.
Literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in growth
everything.
Or something.
Yeah. And they're like, well, what are you doing? That's when we decided to go to more black and white services. Like Corey mentioned, charging per keyword. We built a nice little agency a few years ago that strictly targeted by keywords. Is it local? Okay, you're going to pay this much per keyword. Is it national? Okay, you're going to pay this much per keyword.
And still, the system still works. I mean, that's what we were talking about. That's what I meant, Corey, was that system when I talked about the PPC.
I know. I've seen it like on all of the reports that I've been looking at through the latest update. Like the system campaigns are crushing it.
It's killing it. And so if you're starting out and you need to systemize, honestly, if you want flat costs, that's probably a good way to go, dude. Is over to secret.com.
The hardest part for me when I was beginning to sell SEO was, okay, what are you going to charge? I'm like, I don't know. What do you want to pay? You know, where if you're confident and you come out and you're like, okay, we charge this much per keyword. We require a 5 keyword minimum. Here's your initial cost. Now, remember that we can scale this up as much as you'd like. We can start with the larger package. But if you don't feel comfortable doing
always
that,
go with the larger package.
Yeah, as big as you want. Okay. But anyway, you know, we can always scale up. So I try and set them up for scaling.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've run national campaigns that way. You know, what was it? Buy bulk wine or something like that.
Oh yeah,
we had that guy.
Buy bulk wine. Buy wine, dude. Buy wine was there, dude.
Were we on for buy wine?
Buy wine, dude.
Yeah, wine in bulk.
Yeah, bulk Merlot. Merlot,
that's right. Yeah.
The guy was selling tanker trucks full of freaking wine that he would ship everywhere. Where is he based? California, probably.
Yeah, he was in California.
The campaign cost literally like $150 a month to run, dude.
Yeah.
For that type of keyword, I mean, that's freaking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
That's return, dude.
That was for the 5 keyword cluster, so we were paying. We were paying that for all 5. So.
Yeah. That's cluster marketing. I mean, that's SEO. Honestly, the process has worked since I've known you, Brad. Like, it's been the same damn process with little tweaks since we've known each other, man.
Yeah, we were both doing the same thing, but a little bit different. Same with Corey. You know, I was setting up my mini nets and cloaking over the traffic so I could get more calls out of it and stuff like that, and then using that to push up the primary site. But yeah, it was all clustering. It was just cross-site as opposed to on page.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how the right document, like I know I say it a lot, but the right document will drive your PPC, it'll drive your linking, it'll drive your content, it'll drive your networks. It'll drive absolutely everything you do if you build the right document from day one. And, you know, going back to SOPs, pricing this, you know, find a system. If you're in there, like, do you have a system that you're using right now? Like, do you know your costs? Who asked that question? It was Usman?
Yeah,
Usman, if you're there, dude, like, do you have an idea of what it's going to cost you and what it is? Because I mean, we could look at it right now and do it. If not, we're going to go on. But really kind of get a system in place and know the cost, and then mark it up based on fair market value, so you don't start a bidding war with anyone. But don't undersell.
What I've done in the past too is have something that I've created, like some type of training. And I keep that in my back pocket. So if they can't afford your SEO or whatever, say, well, I do have this one-time training. If you don't want to, you know, if you don't want to hop on this monthly right now, I understand, you know, a 6-month contract can be, you know, a bit overwhelming. So how about this? I've got this course that I put together for clients who would like to do some more DFY type stuff. So then you send them over to that. And then they can go through all the material. Then when they come back to you, they're more knowledgeable about what you're going to do, and they know they don't want to fucking do it. So
exactly.
I will say I love a la carte items because I'd much rather wait for a 6-month contract pitch to close if I've already taken a little bit of money on the campaign by handing over a campaign document that they can use to go get bids on. I don't mind bidding against other people if I craft that document myself, because I know that the document and the services that I craft I can fulfill them cheaper than anyone else. So I know I can give them a better deal, right? So you can engineer success that way by selling a la carte items. You know, sell a freaking content plan to them and make sure your content costs less than anything. Sell a linking plan to them or one together and know that your cost is less than anyone else on all of that. So that's one way to close larger clients is by starting with a consulting type gig.
Odds are if you set the proposal up right, you're going to get that contract. Like the Wolf of Wall Street could maybe come in and steal that from you, you know. But otherwise, sometimes, yeah, well, he could take it. But that was a new contract versus Sam's was I was doing I charged him way too little. Talk about underpricing yourself. For Sam Ovens, he had some reputation management issues that I took care of for him a few years ago, and I was like, it's only $2,000, you know. He's like, okay, so he paid like that day, and it was relatively simple, but
it's like I did the same thing with a director in Hollywood that I cannot talk about some casting couch fucking issues, dude.
Yeah.
And I charged way too little for it. Like I didn't lose money on it, but knowing what I know now, you know, a decade later, dude, I could have charged freaking easily a couple $100,000 for the damn campaign. Like
that, and on the other end of that, though, we have seen people charge way too much for a campaign, and there's no way it's going to be profitable for them. And we begrudgingly helped them with contract, like with the grass site and stuff like that. That ultimately they charge way too much for that. We could have kept them on at $10K a month, come way under budget, and probably still had them.
No, absolutely. Like that's the thing is like you really do need to take your business in a direction where you're helping turn profit for people, and don't snake oil it, because I know people that still will pop GSA and make quick success for like really cheap freaking monthly accounts, and it works for a little bit, but they're doing this knowing that in a few months that shit's going to tank and they're going to have to. So
I would rather see people like that just not touch it at all, or build some citations, like cheap citations. And then it becomes everyone in here has seen Wolf of Wall Street, right? Like the movie when Matthew McConaughey's in it. You know, he's like Fugazi. I mean, if you want to run a turn and burn,
just don't kill their sites.
Yeah, don't do GSA. Just don't do anything. Do some citations or run a citation cleanup and call that a 6-month contract.
Let a real SEO come in and do it, and don't have to clean up all the fucking mess afterwards and shit.
Yeah, disavow files aren't fun. You know, and then if I'm in that situation where I'm the cleanup SEO, no pun intended, Mike. But you're coming in there and looking at that, they're like, and that kills my confidence. They're like, can you clean this up? Yeah, I can clean it up. They're like, are you sure? Because this last guy really fucked it.
Well, you might just have to, and you come into a situation like that where they've burned hopefully they haven't burned the root, but like if it's on dub, then you can just take that off.
Yeah, you got a chance if it's on the dub, but it does suck when you see a fully burnt domain and you're like, dude, you're better off rebuilding. I hate those types of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a question from Randy real quick about what tools do you use for remote management, project management with staff? Like, what are you putting in place, Corey?
Slack.
Yeah,
Slack, and that's pretty. I try to keep it as simple as Slack and Trello.
Yeah, I still got my Trello boards with my SLPs.
Yeah, and the thing is like, you know, I've never done anything per hour. Because it's so hard to track, number one, and number two, you don't want somebody just sitting there burning the time. It's deliverables based. Like even the people that I hire, they're contractors, and there are certain deliverables that need to be met in order for them to get paid XYZ. So you know, at that point, then you know, especially if somebody's working on fulfillment, like you're just looking, is the job done? Is it done right? I don't care if it took you 5 minutes or 5 hours. You're going to get paid for that amount of work. So.
It's like a mechanic, right? Isn't that how they get
paid?
What's that?
It's a value-added service. I would never sell anything by the hour. You're not a fucking bricklayer.
Yeah, definitely not sell by.
I'd pay you by the brick.
Even when making hires like that, you know, you're managing. You just have the tasks that are up there, and then. You might get somebody in there who's super quick at what they do, and they're getting paid the same amount as somebody who's super slow.
Do you have any tech or any staff that is they get like a flat rate per month? Is that how you set them up? Yeah.
Yep.
So they get like $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah, like $1,500 a month for part time, and then you know, and that's just like you're handling like the client kickoff stuff. So there's the month one. There's a one setup. There's all kinds of stuff that has to happen in month one. You hand all that stuff off to somebody who can do all those things. And some of them, I could go through and take care of all of it in an hour for a client. And let's say we bring in like 6 new clients. That's 6 hours of work that this guy's getting paid $1,500 for. But again, it's because my 6 hours are going to be spread out between the entire month. He's going to sit down as soon as it comes in. The expectation is you get started on it, and you finish it as soon as possible.
Do you have sales staff still?
What's that?
I said, did you know how many hours I work a month, Corey?
Well, are you counting like digging post holes and planting trees?
No, I'm talking about the 6 hours.
On his hand.
So let's see, 4 hours a week. So what is that? 12?
That's too much, bro.
Yeah, 12 hours a month. What the slave? Do you have sales staff still, Corey? Are you still doing a bulk of the sales, or do you still have 1 or 2 people on staff for sales? Or
no, right. So right now, yeah, good question. I'm closing all of the business, but I've got sales development reps that are out there qualifying and.
Oh, sweet, yeah. So they're teeing them up for you. Then you just
Yeah, exactly. And then, but they're being groomed to move into the sales position.
Nice. Yeah, that's honestly how I'd prefer it. I mean, training that and stepping out of that, I feel like would be the most difficult part, because there's a lot more finesse there.
Yeah, that's the number. Like when we did the agency stuff together.
They don't get it. It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the toughest thing. I think getting people that are veterans in the industry of sales. You don't want to hire somebody who's just brand new. So the people that I hire have 5 to 10 years experience in sales and calls and so it's I've looked at like hundreds of resumes, and I've got
instead of getting someone brand new and just giving them access to the straight line negotiation course, that doesn't work that well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and you want somebody who's okay and comfortable doing the job, knowing that they're going to get paid based on the results that they bring. So if they're comfortable with that, again, you gotta find and put that pretty broad.
Yep.
All right. Well, ODYS.
That way. Somewhere. Right hand side. Check out the link below the video as well. Also, I have noticed that we have had the most dislikes on a video that I've ever seen in my channel before. I'm not sure if that's some dodgy motherfucker giving us.
Is it one of our videos or another video?
This one right here?
This one right here.
It's because
that's the guy that doesn't know why he's here.
Yeah, it's because we're talking about PPC, and as everyone in the room here knows, that PPC is like the opposite spectrum of because we have a disdain for Google already. We're for those of you that are thumbing down right now is because that you're unwilling to change your methods. You're unwilling to look at some truth. You're probably unwilling to work. So I get the thumbs down.
Also, guys out there, if you can help us, like the video to make sure that those thumbs down douchebags actually get flushed out. I'm not sure why that's there, or some trollers that were on or whatever. So guys, do make sure you do give this video a thumbs up, and also just give us a thumbs up, and thank you for everyone who did come in to see us, and thank you guys again for another great bit of advice. So take it easy.
I'll go stick my thumb up now.
Appreciate it, man.
Cheers, man.
Thanks, Mike. See you, Brad.